Welcome to the Open Door Real Estate Podcast, where we will be opening the doors to the minds of those who own, you got it, multiple doors, and all professionals in relation. Today's podcast is brought to you by Barnett Capital, working with equity partners to create wealth through multifamily real estate. Let us do the work while you enjoy the returns. Today's host is the one and only Matt Barnett. Get ready to open your mind, because we are about to do so to those who own multiple doors.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of the Open Door Real Estate Podcast. Today I have Mr. Barry Flavin. Thank you so much for being on here and taking the time out of your day to do so.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
For those who don't know Barry has been investing in real estate for over 8 years. He started by rehabbing and selling several of his personal residences. He then used the proceeds to purchase 20 plus single-family rentals. After realizing the many opportunities that real estate has to offer, he shifted his focus over to multifamily. Barry currently owns 245 units as of 2019. Prior to pursuing real estate as his main focus, he had a successful career in software sales, followed by air traffic control. Barry's passion ultimately lies in the real estate investment relations. He enjoys sharing his knowledge and opportunities with current and future investors, with a focus on stable and reliable returns while creating long-term lasting relationships. Barry graduated from Western Michigan University in 2005, and I'm going to add on to that and say you're a professional traveler. I got you on Facebook, and oh my God, 1 minute you're snowmobiling, next minute you're in Florida, next minute you got 66 units under contract, then you're back in Michigan. You're on fire right now, man.
Fair amount of traveling, that's for sure.
But pretty cool. So you are partnered with Josh, correct?
Yes, Josh Sterling and myself, we partnered up about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and formed New Mission Capital. And Josh is he's the main guy that got me involved in real estate investing. So
absolutely. And someone at one of Jamie's last meetups, I was talking to someone about both of you actually. I was like, how's this man getting everywhere? I didn't realize that Josh actually has he flies, he has a license to fly on his own.
Yes. So Josh, me and him met at Detroit Metro's air traffic controllers about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Prior to that, he was a commercial airline pilot. He went to school for, and then got involved in real estate and was able to kind of time some things right ambition, and just really put his nose to the grindstone, took off, and was able to put himself in a position where he owns his own airplane now. So we're able to take advantage of that and have some fun in that thing.
That's awesome. So obviously you made that connection with Josh. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. How did you even get started in the multifamily industry, or even real estate in general?
So real estate in general, almost kind of accidentally. So I bought my first personal home in 2006. Probably one of the worst days you could buy a home. I think I bought one, and the financial crisis and the housing crash happened shortly after. I was underwater like most folks on my home, and when I was doing software sales, I had continued to just pay down principal. My goal was, hey, if I could be 35, not have a mortgage payment, that would be just the best thing in the world for me. Mm-hmm. So tried refinancing a couple times. The value just kept going down. Wasn't able to do so. I sold the home. Was fortunate enough to be able to walk. I get some cash back out of it just because I've been paying it down. Went and bought 10 acres in the next town over. House that wasn't foreclosed, but it was in that type of condition where it just needed a lot of work. Spent a few years rehabbing that myself, fixing it up, sold it, made a good profit on it, and went and did that a couple more times with my own personal residences. And then after a couple of those rinse and repeats, I went to Josh, and I'd seen what he had been building over the years, and just like, all right, I've known what you've been doing. I get the rough idea, but let's sit down, let's pencil this out. How do I analyze deals? How do I go about doing this? And read a few books and started just buying a few houses. And at first, our initial goal was, if we could get 5 to 10 single family homes, that'd be ideal. That would pair well with my air traffic controller pension.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I saw another opportunity after another opportunity and just became obsessed with it and started borrowing hard money from investors. And we just, we couldn't rehab them and fix them up and rent them out and refinance them fast enough. And then that kind of brought me to the next step where me and Josh have now partnered up and kind of been our main focus for the last couple of years is in multifamily.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I know that as of 2019, it was 245 units. What's the current count? And we can count ones under contract. I mean,
yeah. So me personally, I have my 21 single family homes, and then I have 2 larger syndications that me and Josh have done together. We did a 144 unit deal in Dearborn Heights, and then we did another syndication of 80 units in Toledo. And now we are under contract with another 66 units in Melvindale, Michigan.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Killing it.
Yeah, I think Josh's larger portfolio, I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 650 to 700 units that he personally owns and has a part of, and managing another 200 units for other third-party investors.
Yeah, that's amazing. So as we know, the stock market is just doing so amazing right now.
So ride the last couple of weeks.
Multifamily has always seemed to be almost like a bulletproof vest. Basically, it takes some hits, but it stays strong. So why should investors consider multifamily?
I think everything has its cycles. That's not to say that everybody should just be all into real estate and all into multifamily. Mm-hmm. Certainly. But I think it's a great thing to be invested in diversification-wise. If you're going to be a truly passive investor and just get in on syndication deals, it allows you to own that real estate as a passive guy. You don't have to be the person checking in on tenants, leasing things up, everything that comes with owning the property. You get to take advantage of the tax advantages, the depreciation that comes to that building. So you can take that passive income and offset it with the depreciation of the building. Mm-hmm. Over time, you have the appreciation of the building. As we increase rents, we keep expenses under control. The value of the building continues to go up. Amortization, we're paying down principal the entire time, and those are typically large mortgages. So that somebody's very quietly just depositing money into your account over the years. Yeah.
So touching on that, I know you just covered a few things there, but what's kind of like your strategy? Like you guys operate the properties really good, honestly. So what's the structure behind that look like?
Yeah. So one of the main reasons me and Josh teamed up was when Josh got to about 50 doors, he formed his own property management company. Tried to farm it out to a couple of folks and just couldn't really find anybody that he felt was going to do as good of a job as he was already doing. Mm-hmm. So bought a small office building with a couple apartments above it, hired an office person, hired a full-time maintenance person, and that's now grown into 25, 26 direct employees. I think,
wow.
Like I heard him say the other day, he's got 17 vehicles on the road too, between work trucks and leasing and cleaning people. That's not my strength. That is hands down all day long. That is Josh's strength. He's hyper organized and hyper focused. And we were talking one day, and I asked him, I said, why are you not pursuing larger deals, larger transactions? And at the same time, he's kind of pulling on me to, hey, you got to get involved in multifamily. Mm-hmm. So we said, let's put our heads together. He says, Barry, you seem to have a decent network of folks that'd be interested in investing in this. And Josh also had a number of folks that were behind him for investing as well. So we kind of pooled our resources there. And we said, Barry, you go focus on talking to investors, telling them all about the latest opportunities and just our focus, our deal structures, et cetera. So that's kind of how New Mission Capital came about.
That's amazing. So, I mean, even in the bio, you're the investor relations guy. That's what it came down to.
Yeah, me and Josh, yes, we put our heads together when it comes to making larger strategic decisions on the properties, and we're the same. if one of us says it, we're both pretty much always there. But when it comes to the day-to-day, just operations of those buildings, that's what Josh spot is, and I let him run with that. I think it's a great team.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it sounds like you had two different strengths, and you put them together, and it's working out perfectly.
Yep. He's not as enthusiastic about going out and talking to folks and raising money for deals. And for me, that's what kind of gets me excited. I love talking to investors. I love meeting new people, and I love talking about the opportunities that we're able to drum up.
Yeah, that's amazing. And obviously, I mean, since you do talk to a lot of investors, what are your goals with those investors? What should they kind of expect?
Our goal for investors, for the investors, the properties that we're targeting are typically, we call them a class B to C property, and maybe a B or C neighborhood, where we're going to operate these things long term. We're buying for cash flow as well as appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
But our main focus is we want to buy these things. We want to run them for 5, 6, 7 years. And instead of a sale, we want to refinance these properties and return as much capital to our investors as we can.
Yep.
And everybody still owns their same share of the building that they initially got into the deal at. So if we can return as much capital after whatever that magic number is, 5, 6, 8, maybe 10 years in a long run.
Yep.
But all along the way, distributing roughly maybe 7% cash on cash returns. That's generally our target. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Overall, we're targeting for the investors about a 16, 17% average annual return.
Nice.
Average annual return is our target for them.
Wow, that's amazing. And besides, I mean, the returns are amazing. You can't really argue with that. But what are some things you're doing to retain your relationships with the investors for the long term to maybe get them to invest in multiple deals with you outside of just the one?
I think our strength in the long run is going to be if we're able to start returning that capital to the investors and they still retain their ownership. If I'm an investor and somebody if I give them $100,000 and within, I don't know, 5, 6 years, somebody gave me back 50,000 of that. Why wouldn't I turn around and reinvest with these guys? I mean,
of course.
And from a relationship side, we stay in constant communication with our investors. We send out quarterly updates with our quarterly distributions.
Mm-hmm.
And we also send out mid-quarter updates for everybody. We try to not have any surprises with these guys.
Yeah.
I tell them, hey guys, middle of quarter here, we're on target. Here's some major expenses that happen. Here's what we're projecting, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're easy to get a hold of. Most of our investors so far have been friends, family, coworkers, former coworkers, people maybe about one arm's length away from those people. So everybody is able to pick up the phone and give us a call if they got any questions. So.
Yeah, that probably makes it a lot easier having a previous or prior relationship to investing. So they know you have that trust to begin with. So.
And any new folks that have come into the circle for investing have been referrals from other investors. So.
Oh yeah, and that's even better. Word of mouth like that. I mean, yeah, can't really beat that.
Yep. Yeah, we see a lot of folks out there with the giant lead generating machines, and that's great. We'll get there. We just haven't gone down that path yet. So far, we're fortunate enough to have some good investors behind us that brought us this far.
That's amazing. Well, it's definitely working out.
Yeah.
So let's touch a little bit on the market. What are you finding most challenging in today's market?
Most challenging, finding a good deal it's a challenge right now.
Everything's overpriced.
We do look at a lot of transactions where we find on market, off market. What it's a constant theme seems to be. It's a value add if you can raise rents $200 a door, but we're going to charge you as if we already did. So we're not going to do all the heavy lifting and just to meet that return, because if we're targeting something like that and we can't raise the rents, say we think we can get them $2, well, if I can only get them up $100, that leaves all the investors short. And starts to make us look like fools pretty quick. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess to your main point, finding good deals is the hardest thing right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, it almost basically sounds like from what you just said, there's not really, and if it is maybe potentially a good deal, there's really not enough meat on the bone to make it,
It's highly competitive right now. There's just a lot of different things going on with rates so low. People can afford to pay more. East and West Coast with rent control stuff that's been put into effect, that's driving some of that capital inward to the Southwest, Southeast regions, and definitely into the Midwest here. We're running into more folks from the East Coast of California.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're not just looking in Michigan. So you mean you?
Oh yeah, we've been fortunate enough where we have not had to go too far outside of the Metro Detroit and down into Toledo area.
Mm-hmm.
But we do look at properties all across the Midwest here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're in Michigan, so we don't have to worry about the rent control thing yet. So
it's out there. It's something to be mindful of.
No, absolutely. So these next few questions I have put together prior to this interview, and what the point of them is some of them are still business related, but some of them are more to pull out. They're not personal. They're just made to pull out more maybe personal answers, get people or investors listening to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah,
so
certainly.
They were set up as rapid fire, but they've just kind of been more casual as we've recorded these. So I really love asking this one. What 3 people that are alive would you like to have dinner with?
Ooh, 3 people are alive that I'd love to have dinner with. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if I got an answer for you on that one.
Well, that's the
I
goal.
don't know if I have 3 idols out there. I love country music. I love country music, so I'd have to say George Strait. Been a long time fan of him.
Love it.
I mean, another easy one is just a guy like Warren Buffett. You'd love to just pick some of those guys' brains. I've always thought Elon Musk was a very interesting guy. Just everything it seems like he's putting his hands on, he's trying to. What he's going to work on is potentially going to change the world. So I find that guy very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That seems to be a common one. Elon and Jeff Bezos. Bezos or whatever. But so I'm going to keep you thinking here. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I've ever received? Just show up and be on time. Just do what you said you were going to do it a certain way, and just show up, be there on time, and do what you said you were going to do.
Yes, basically take action, be a man of your word, and make it happen.
Very simple advice, but it doesn't seem like it's always the easiest thing for people to follow and do.
Seriously. No, I can back that. That's a good one. And then this is last one here. What keeps you up at night?
Oh, everything. There's some nights you wake up at 2 a.m. and you're thinking about just where's the next deal going to come from? Where's the money going to come from? Just are we going to be able to do for the investors what we said we were going to do? And at first I wasn't as good at this, but I'm getting better. I have to get up and I'll pull out my phone and I'll just start writing down lists and things to do and things that are keeping me up. And otherwise I'll sit there and my head will just turn for the next 3 or 4 hours, and then it's time to get up, and now you're exhausted for the rest of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So this portion of the podcast is just kind of like the shameless plug, whatever. Anything you want to talk about, promote, pitch, now's your opportunity. Where can investors find you to invest with you guys, things like that?
Yeah, so shameless plug. Obviously, we're in the real estate multifamily syndication business. We're always looking for more investors, more opportunities. People can reach us at me personally at Barry@newmissioncapital.com, or you can look us up on our website, newmissioncapital.com. It's probably the best way to get a hold of us.
Perfect. And then for anyone listening or watching on YouTube, the links that you just gave us, I'm going to make sure that they're in there so that people can just click them directly to get in reach with you guys and everything. So
great.
This was kind of a quick one, but I appreciate you coming on, taking the time out of your day to do so. I mean, you covered some great points, and I really appreciate it. So
absolutely,
thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, and congratulations on the new show, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Take it easy. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Have a great day.
Yep. You too. Bye. Hey, what's going on? Matt Barnett here with Barnett Capital. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. All future podcasts will be posted on facebook.com/BarnettCapitalCo. You can also find us on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, and Radio Podcast. Thank you so much for listening.